Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HUD OCIO learning session. I'm Dr. Melanie Cohen. Today, we're going to be discussing relearning how to learn. Remember in those early years when we learned to walk, talk, count, read, and use people's names all at the same time with almost no effort at all? But now, when we really need our learning skills to help us deal successfully with work and each other and constant changes every day, many of us seem to have forgotten how to do it effectively. Instead, we assume we know the answers. We jump to conclusions, criticize each other's shortcomings, and reject real creativity when we meet it in the workplace. This HUD OCIO learning session will look at the challenges to real learning in our lives today. We'll explore some of the ways we might recapture the excitement and satisfaction of learning new things with an open and perceptive mind. Some ideas we'll discuss include why smart people find it hard to learn, how to avoid falling into the intelligence trap, and how we can use double loop learning to test our assumptions. We're very fortunate to have with us today Dr. Chris Durney, a director at Phase 1 Consulting Group. Let me introduce our panel, tell you a little bit about Chris, and then we'll begin our discussion. Today's panel includes Janice Osby, Deputy Chief Information Officer for Business and Information Resource Management at the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and Kathy McGrain, Training Administrator from the Government Accountability Office. Thank you for being on our panel today. Dr. Chris Durney, Director at Phase 1 Consulting Group and part of the Weems team at HUD, has worked as a consultant to over 35 different government agencies over the past 30 years. During that period, he has programmed information systems in COBOL for the Navy, delivered leadership development programs to federal executives, and evaluated international development programs for the World Bank. He managed program management offices for chief information officers, conducted organizational assessments and improvement programs for both small and large agencies, and run the technology laboratory and new product development for a software services firm. Through all of this work, Chris's focus has been to help his clients improve the rate of which they turn information into action. Chris holds a PhD in Management of Science, Technology, and Innovation from the George Washington University and is a certified project management professional. He has presented ideas from his work experience and his research at industry conferences both in the U.S. and abroad, and has published articles on a range of issues in information management and organizations. So Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Melanie. It's glad to be here again and panel. It's lovely to be with you this time. It's interesting that I named or titled the session today, Relearning How to Learn, but you already know all that. When I was talking over this presentation with my daughter, she said, well, you know, the people that really need to hear this probably aren't going to come to it because they're going to look at it and say, I already know all that. So I added that to the title in honor of her. The first thing we'd like to do, though, is go through a little bit of a learning quiz, if we can. And I invite everybody to do it out there. Hopefully you can see clearly enough. And we'll go through it with the panel, make sure they understand the questions. There are three answers to this, and basically, I want you to think about the situation and when was the last time you did this? Was it like you never did it in your whole life? Or you did it within the last 6 months, or you did it in the last few weeks, okay? And that's a 1, 2, and a 3. Just circle the number when I go through the situation, right? Okay. So the first question is, when was the last time, after struggling fruitlessly to get my team moving in the direction I want, I came out of the meeting and muttered to myself, they're just not very open to change. Or they're just not getting it. Or they're very obstinate today, something like that. So was it you never did that? Or was it in the past 6 months? Or do you really know that you did it last week or so? When the instructor said, all of you know this 70-20-10 formula, I assumed that everyone did know, so I didn't ask for a clarification. Now, this is a little tricky. I didn't ask for a clarification. So never means I always ask for a clarification, right? I never withheld my ignorance of the 7-20-10 formula. 2 means that, oh, maybe in the past 6 months, I didn't ask, or I asked for a thing. Or in fact, today in our discussion, you asked me to clarify something because you didn't understand it. When I didn't hear the previous statement made in a meeting because I was busy formulating my own response. Oh, I've never done that. Give yourself a 1. Yeah, I probably have done that, but it was a long time ago. That's a 2. Or geez, I know that I missed when they called on me. I wasn't listening. That's a 3 if it happened yesterday or the last week. I jumped to a conclusion because I knew the answer, and only later I didn't realize that I realized I didn't have the complete picture. Okay, I think that one's pretty clear. I know what you're going to say. Do you ever say that to anybody? I know what you're going to say. Whew, I know. Anyway, I said to my colleague, you take the first shot at the report, and I'll review it after you're done. You take the first shot, and I'll review it. Is that like what you do on a regular basis? That would be a 3. If you never do that, if you're always the one to say, okay, I'll write it first, and then we can look at it together, then that would be a never. You'd never forced it to your colleague first. I complained to my friend, my plate is so full, I hardly have time to think. I never complained to my friend that I hardly have that my plate's so full, or I complain frequently. And lastly, I didn't share an idea in a meeting, let's say, because you're tired of people claiming your ideas as their own. This would be one of those things is, I said something in the meeting, nobody paid any attention, and 10 minutes later, the head of the meeting introduced my idea, and everybody said, wow. And I'm sick and tired of that, So, okay, we're going to come back to these, and you can refer back to them as we go, and then we'll add them up, and we'll talk about what they mean later as we go, okay? So, what's the challenge we're going to talk about today? Any company that aspires to succeed in the tougher business environment of the 1990s must first resolve a basic dilemma. Success depends on learning, yet more people don't know how to learn. This was the opening line of Chris Argyris's famous article, Teaching Smart People How to Learn, which showed up in the Harvard Business Review in 1991. Argyris, in fact, this article is such a classic. If you look in the 10 best management articles, it's in that collection. It's in the essential collection. It's practically everywhere you look. And we're going to examine what Argyris was actually saying in this article, and then we're going to discuss some aspects of it, what the cause of it is, and then why it's so hard for smart people to learn, and then what are some of the things we can do about it to help us be a little bit more sensitive to the opportunities for learning around us and make more use of them. So here's Argyris's argument, okay, from top to bottom. We often equate learning with problem solving. Now you think about that for a minute. You say, okay, what is he talking about? As we go through, as we have gone through school, some of this is starting to change, but as we have gone through school, what did we end up, what was the judgment that was made on the amount we had learned? It was when we were presented a problem, math is a perfect example, and we were able to solve it, right? We were able to take that problem and apply a solution. And if we were judged to be pretty smart. We didn't have to get everyone right, but if we got B's, or even C pluses, we were getting by. We were smart enough that we didn't have to worry about failure.
I don't know about B's and C pluses, but.
Well, but a C plus is not a failing grade, right?
Right.
Your parents might have thought it was a failing grade, and they might have been turning up the pressure.
Right.
But if you were getting C pluses and Bs, and I know because I got a lot of C pluses and Bs, you didn't worry about failing out of school, and that was a really big thing. You could use that extra time for other interests. Much of our formal education is structured in that problem-solving kind of way, and smart people succeed early at problem-solving, and therefore they're respected as pretty successful. In fact, says Argyris, that we succeed, smart people succeed so well that we end up growing a fear of failure. We don't want to be told that we weren't right, and we develop some mechanisms to avoid that. And he says it becomes so strong in smart people because they're generally right that when they're wrong, they'd rather blame somebody else rather than admit that they're wrong. Now, we're going to talk about this argument a little bit. We're going to look at it a little bit more. But the really important point is that kind of an attitude that we all have from winning most of the time, right? And from being successfully solving these problems, and from our education being a problem-solving oriented education, it sets us up to be locked into what Argyris calls single loop learning. And we're going to look at single and double loop learning just a bit so that you can see what he's talking about. What is single loop learning? Well, if you have a current situation, the first thing that you do with that current situation, if you're in this problem-solving mood, is to try to figure out if there's a problem. Right? Is there a problem that needs to be solved? I'll show this in a different context a little bit. Your judgment is that there's a problem to be solved. I mean, sometimes it's really obvious. It's the first question on the exam, so you know it's got to be solved. But you might be a consultant, and you come into a place and you want to know, is there a problem to be solved in this organization? You probably wouldn't be brought in if somebody didn't think there was a problem to be solved. And then you choose a solution from the options that you know, that you've learned over time, that you have in your little bag of tricks. And you choose that option and you apply it to the current situation. And that's single loop learning. And it often is enough because we're smart people. And it often solves the problem. And Argyris uses the example of a thermostat. This thermostat is set at 72 degrees. The current situation in the room, when the temperature is recorded, is 68. The target is set at 72. Is there a problem? Yes, the current situation is too cold, as the ladies to my right are experiencing. But the target is set at 72, so the thermostat then initiates the action, the solution, which is to turn on the heat. And it continues to monitor the current environment until the current environment comes up to 72, and then it turns off the heat. That's single loop learning, okay? And that's Argyris's metaphor for it. What does it mean in terms of, let's say, consultancy? Well, or interactions, looking at organizations. Let's say you have a current situations that you have a low quality product. Your target is less than 5 defects per 1 million, and yet you go out there and you measure, and you're not meeting that at all. So as a consultant, you reach into your bag of tricks and you initiate the QA strategy, your quality assurance strategy, and you apply that to the current situation, and you see if that brings up the number of the performance to the level that you want it to be at. That's your single loop learning. Now, what happens if my first answer doesn't work? Well, smart people don't only have one answer. Smart people have like multiple answers. So it might look like they're actually thinking this through. They get back, they say, okay, initiate quality assurance program, didn't work. We're still below the defects level that we want. So I'm going to initiate the second part, training. So I apply training. I do another round of example of single loop learning. What happens when I run out of answers? Well, Arjus says that after I run out of answers, I've applied all the answers that are in my bag of tricks, then I'm muttering to myself, arg, I just don't get it, right? Now look back at your question, your quiz, and that one where I said, you've fruitlessly been working, arg, I just don't get it, right? If you've never done that, good for you. If you've done it in the last few weeks, you've probably given some evidence of this failure to get out of your single loop.
So, Chris, I just want to interrupt for 1 second. It's
Yep.
not that I don't get it, it's that they don't get it. I'm not looking at myself yet in single loop learning.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at them.
You're blaming them.
You know, I'm blaming
They
them.
just
So
don't
it's
get it.
really they don't get it. It has
Absolutely.
nothing to do with me because everything I'm doing is right.
Yeah, at this
It's
point,
them.
you've tried all the answers that you know
Right.
are right, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, now it's time to blame somebody. Why? Because you fear it, because this is where Arjuna says the fear enters in, and you begin to think, maybe I'm going to fail, and I can't have that. So it's got to be their fault. So he introduces this concept at this point of double loop learning. I just want to go back to the thermostat just for a minute because we want to talk about what the thermostat can't do, okay? The thermostat can't reflect on whether 72 is the right target or not. It can't reflect on whether this is the right goal for the situation to aim at. What if that thermostat, I'm sure you've never done this, but reach into the back of the refrigerator and you actually hit the thermostat in the back of the refrigerator and turn it up to 60 or something, and the next time you look in your refrigerator, like all the bottle of milk is sweating because it's like, and because you've done, and then you wonder what's gone wrong. The thermostat cannot tell if it's set at 72, whether it's inside an oven, whether it's in the living room, or whether it's that would be self-reflection. Now, maybe some of our smarter thermostats, have some artificial intelligence built into them, can begin to do that, but that double loop is reserved generally for thinkers.
Right.
And so the thermostat cannot do the double loop learning. Smart people, says Arjus, have trouble with double loop learning because they resort to that blame loop before they sit back and reflect on what's going wrong. Here's what the double loop says. Current low quality, you've tried everything, the target still exists, the defects are still below target, but you've tried everything that you know, and then you say, okay, what's not right with this picture? So you sit back, you take a little time, you say, maybe it's not me, maybe it's not my solutions, maybe I've never confronted this situation before. What's wrong? What's going on here? And it's that kind of thinking where you say, okay, I'm going to adjust my target, I'm going to try a different option that gives you that double loop learning that he says is essential to really good learning, okay? That to me is the heart of his argument. We'll talk in a minute about why it's hard for smart people, but that's the heart of his argument. So problem solving, and then exhausting your answers, blaming the other person because of your fear of failure, that kind of pattern he sees all the time in smart people. And he's much more rarely does he see them stepping back, taking the time to reflect, and coming up with the second loop in which they adjust their target, try a new option, open up the discussion.
But in the second loop, you mean that you also could be contributing to the problem as well. That's the key.
That's absolutely part of it. That maybe it doesn't have to be, but maybe. Some of your interaction is actually causing a reluctance on the part of the first loop to solve itself, right?
Well, Chris, how do you in an organization that is trying to fix problems change the thinking from fixing the problem to reflecting on the problem, how do you, because in the tyranny of urgent, you've got to get the problems resolved that your organization is facing. So how do you, in the tyranny of the urgent, give the time and encourage your staff, and even in performance reviews, you're saying, have you completed this? You never say failure is okay. How do you change the culture that failure is okay, and then to look at that failure to learn from it? How do you do that?
I don't know. I mean, I think you make people aware. That's a part of it is to try to make people aware. The tyranny of the urgent, as you put it, is out there. I gotta tell you. Let me just say.
Okay.
I mean, this is an argument from my own point of view. Procrastination is not the worst thing in the world. Some people say that you procrastinate because you don't want to get down to it. But if you're procrastinating because you're reflecting about the challenge first, and you want to think it through before you write stuff down, I think that's a healthy thing. So I think encouraging that. I used to teach, and I used to tell my students, here's an essay question. Before you begin, I want you to put at least a 3 or 4 sentence outline of your answer at the beginning of your answer, okay? And then I would go around the room and say, if you don't do that, I'm going to take off 10 points. But there were still people in the room, students in the room, who were so anxious to start writing the answer to the essay that they didn't do the outline. They didn't hear what I had said about that. I was just asking them to take some time to reflect on the answer before they wrote it down. But we're very urgent.
So Chris, in an organization, where do you infuse that change of thinking? Where does it start?
How can
No,
we
why don't
design
you,
learning
Kathy,
experiences?
we were talking before.
We were talking, yeah.
Where do you think it starts?
Yeah, I thought about it in working in leadership development. How could I design a learning experience for my leaders that they would be able to engage in such self-respect, reflection, and not, the defensive reaction in solving a problem? In the article that we read, getting managers to maybe solve real-life problems with their staff and to learn about, not having defensive mechanisms and reflecting, using self-reflection and encouraging that among their team, and they can solve a problem together as opposed to having these defensive mechanisms.
But in response to what Janice asks, though, where does it start? Your answer is it starts with the leaders.
With leaders, yes, in moving them in this direction of thought in our organizations, yes.
Yeah.
I think, to go back to Janice's point, though, her question was deeper than double loop learning. Her question really got to how do you accept failure? And that idea is really embedded in the culture, right? That's beyond double loop learning. If you have an organization that is not risk averse, no one was going to go out and say, hey, everybody go fail. But you have to be receptive and understand that within creativity there is failure. And so that all begins with the leadership, okay? Now, once you begin adding these other components of understanding how people learn, adding perhaps different concepts of thinking, like design thinking to problems, you're going to be more receptive to success not every time, because it's the learning through the failure that makes you grow and achieve greater. But you have to be in an organization that's accepting of that. And a lot of organizations are not, because of what you just talked about, where everything is urgent.
Yeah.
The only problem with urgency is you've solved the problem in a single loop learning method. And what ends up happening there is the problem morphs into something else, and you're really solving the same problem repeatedly.
Yes.
And
Well,
so people
that-
have to understand that
Yeah,
happens.
and that's what I was going to say, is that if your organization insists that you answer things quickly, and the problem changes out from underneath them, that could be more dangerous
Right.
than having them reflect on it and having them say, no, if I try that answer, it's going to fail again. So I think that's important to recognize, especially when our world is changing so fast. The answers in information technology today would not be the same answers that you had out of your stock answers 10 years ago.
Right.
So you know, you have to keep that in mind as well.
It's interesting, Chris. The concept of double loop learning I was not familiar with before I read the article. However, in my experience as a manager, it was failure that I experienced early as a manager that made me to start reflecting. And that made me grow as a manager, because what I started doing was thinking, what role did I play in the outcome of the situation?
Yeah.
And I grew as a manager once I started doing that. And now, as a manager, what I've incorporated into my management style is I have a mirror in my office that during performance reviews, or when an employee comes in and they're challenged with some obstacle in what they're trying to do, what I do is I ask them to look in the mirror. And I ask them to first, what do you see in the mirror? And self-reflect to say, what role did I have in that outcome, and what can I do differently? And I found as a manager with my employees that has been beneficial for them,
Yeah.
because it's sometimes because we're fearful of failure,
Yeah.
we're fearful to accept the failure as ours.
Yep.
And that has made it okay, because, you know, one of the things that I try to do as well is I take responsibility for the failure when I own the failure
Yeah.
to them. And that makes them more comfortable to see that it's okay.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right that at least within my organizations where I've seen improvement, when I accept the failure and say we can grow from it, and a lot of times the way I phrase it to my employees is the first time is a learning opportunity. You know,
The first time.
So, you know,
Okay.
if it's repeated,
Well,
I mean, if the same
Yeah.
failure,
Those are-
No, no, I
if the same
understand where you're
failure.
going.
That was
So-
a very important phrase, though, the
Yeah,
first time.
Yeah, the first time.
The same-
You got to
if-
do some learning.
yeah,
Right.
you got to learn.
Okay, well, let's move on to talk a little bit about why smart people find double loop learning hard. And your point about reflection is clearly one of those points. The one thing that I'd say about your reflection, this is like getting the clever line in, right? Is that as long as they look in the mirror and you're not reflecting over their shoulder in the mirror, that would put me off a little bit. Anyway. So we're going to talk about why double loop learning is hard for smart people. One is the notion of ADT. Edward Hallowell wrote an article for Harvard Business Review talking about attention deficit trait. And we'll talk about some of the aspects of that. I think you'll all recognize yourselves a little bit with a little touch of attention deficit trait. And then attention deficit trait and the fact that you can't always spend as much time makes you play more defense, because, you know, we don't want to fail. We know we haven't necessarily paid enough attention because we've been scatter-ass to the sousaphans, as my mother would say. And then you take that playing defense and that exacerbates the fact that we don't have any. Makes worse that we don't have any reflection time, right? And that, as we know, our organizations sometimes are set up so that we don't have reflection time. We don't schedule it into our day, and because we're not taking the time to think, then we let the things around us speed up and get us off our pace. So. Let's talk about attention deficit trait, this Hallowell idea. His article's Overloaded Circuits, Why Smart People Underperform. And he says it's similar to ADD, but totally due to the environment. It's not neurological, which ADD is. Just a little aside here. This will be one of my parenthetical stories. All right, one of my daughters was diagnosed with ADD, and we helped her through school and that kind of thing. She did remarkably well, has her master's in social work and so on. But along the way, we found out that there's some schools of thought that think ADD is genetic. Well, my wife and I then immediately went to odds about which one of us was the cause of that. We each wanted to claim that we were the ADD source, because when you came back home and said, "Oh, I forgot the milk," it was easy to say, "Well, ADD." So anyway, that's just a little aside. But he says this is not neurological. This is a trait that we pick up because our environment is so loaded with kinds of things that interrupt us. And you know how that is. Tweets and visits from people knocking at the door, people calling you on the phone, things you got to do, assignments that come over email. It's just overwhelming. And the brain says, well, when it starts to feel overwhelmed like that, starts sending these warning signals to you. And the first types of things are fear and anxiety, and you start feeling, you can feel it go up your neck sometimes when you get tense like that, and then you get irritable, and people come in and you're not who you usually are, and then it goes all the way up to panic. But since we're overwhelmed, we start just grabbing at answers, right? Pushing answers out the door. It doesn't really matter what the answer is. Somebody else will fix it, but it'll be off of my plate.
So we don't have time to self-reflect in our environments that we've set up, the way that we've structured
We don't give
them.
ourselves time,
Yes.
because we've got all this stuff coming in and there's no automatic prioritization of it. And, and I don't know about you guys, but there are times when you look at your list of to-dos, and it goes on to the second page.
Yeah.
I used to have a rule. As soon as it went on the second page, I started throwing the bottom of the list away, right? Because that's just too many things to think about. And then my boss brought me in a legal pad instead of a, he said you can make your list a little bit
So you
longer.
need to do what I do, is not write it down.
Yeah, well,
Just kind of keep it on your mind and not write it
yeah.
down, because sometimes, I'm a firm believer that people don't give themselves time during a day for themselves.
Yes.
I think each person needs a little bit of time during the day, even if it's just to learn something new, to think about something,
Yeah.
just to, I think there's a quote, and I don't remember who said it, but, people don't even give themselves time for lunch. And I think it was like in a civilized society, you need to give yourself time, a break in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
For whatever that is, even if it's just to sit and not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, that's the time that you can actually do some of this reflecting, thinking, because once
have a
you,
great
once,
example of
once you
that
get
a
into
little bit
this,
later, yeah.
once you're in this kind of thing where you're anxious and you're fearful and you're irritable, I think the day is sort of lost
Yeah.
once that happens.
Yeah.
And then
Unless you break the cycle somehow, like you said, take some time.
Right. But
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people take time for themselves. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what we're learning is you can't engage in double loop learning in this type of learning experience unless you do have the reflection.
Exactly.
So-
That's exactly right.
Okay, so you're very busy, right? And you feel overwhelmed and you feel a little bit panicked, but somebody comes and wants you involved, and you haven't had time to prepare. So your only response is your only reasonable response
Protection.
from the smart people is to protect yourself from
Yep.
failure, and therefore play defense.
Yes.
And these first 7 come from an interesting article by Edward de Bono, who's done a lot of work on thinking and
Yeah.
creativity and so on. He calls it the intelligence trap, and he says these 7 characteristics are true of intelligent people: that they love the well-argued case. That is, I can fall in love with a great argument, even if the argument's not true,
Right.
as long as it's handy. I often substitute verbal fluency for real thinking. So this was one of the questions that I wanted to ask on the quiz, and that is, when was the last time you came up, you didn't prepare for a meeting, and yet you knew you had to say something, so you came up with a really elegant kind of response based on absolutely nothing, but you were real proud of yourself because it was very fluent.
Yes.
And smart people we're really fluent, so we need to be right all the time says De Bono, and Argyris agrees that that's one of the characteristics that push us that way, right? The desire to be right, and the piece of that follows is we like to prove others wrong.
Yes.
Isn't there a commercial that I just saw about Tarzan and Jane where they're talking about directions
Oh,
in
yeah.
the woods?
I just saw that the other day.
And Tarzan never asks directions, because I am Tarzan, king of the jungle.
You're right.
But she says, but the water falls the other way. It's actually pretty funny. We prefer to criticize rather than to create. So if you notice, one of the things I asked was, when was the last time you said to your colleague, go ahead and you take the first shot, and I'll look at it later? What are you really saying? You take the effort to create it in the first place, and then I'll review it, because that's a lot easier for me than creating it myself, and it's a lot less less threatening.
It's safer.
Oh, it's much
way
safer.
safer.
Yeah, much
Yeah.
safer. I read a review. I saw a concert this Sunday, Baltimore Symphony, and Joshua Bell, the violinist, who's remarkably good and well known and so on, played Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto. And I read a review after that where the person reviewing it said, "This may have been my most enjoyed version of Joshua Bell playing, occasional slips aside." And so she adds this little critique, occasional slips aside. Oh, Joshua, I really enjoyed your playing, but
You made a couple mistakes.
don't think I missed those
Don't
mistakes.
think I didn't notice that.
I thought
Right.
that was pretty amazing. Anyway, we're quick to jump to conclusions. We talked about that, right? And I'm sure a lot of you put down that you do this in the past few weeks. Yeah.
Yep.
And find cleverness more fun than wisdom. Finding the funny thing to say. That's why I had that point about Janice looking over my shoulder. It's a clever little line. But we like to do that as intelligent people. And Argyris then points out that intelligent people protect themselves, right, at all costs. And we blame others in order to protect ourselves.
I wonder if I could add one thing to this
Sure.
intelligent people. I know people, and I don't know if I'm really talking about myself or people, but I know people that would like to create the thing themselves, but then don't really want the criticism after,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that's even worse
Yeah.
than critiquing somebody else's work, because critiquing somebody else's work is
You mean not
easy.
accepting their critique?
Yeah,
or
not
even
accepting their critique.
Yeah. It's hard to take criticism, especially for creative people who are so sensitive to what they created.
Right.
Right? I mean,
Right.
when that's their little baby.
And part of it is we've been taught we've got to be right. I mean, from grade school
Yeah.
all
That's right.
through
Yes,
academia,
right.
you've got to be right.
Yeah.
If you get that wrong,
Well,
you
you
get
never
that
have
C
been
plus.
wronger than when you've worked on a dissertation. Is that? I can tell you that.
Unless,
you have to
unless
have
it's
a hard
600 pages long,
Yeah,
then we know nobody read it.
right, which was yours, but that's when you realize how wrong you could be.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so
okay.
one last thing about reflection, the fact that we don't take time for reflection. I'm a great fan of Andrea Camilleri's Montalbano's mystery series. Inspector Montalbano the mysteries are set in Sicily. And here's one quote from one of his books. He took his walk along the jetty at a slow pace and then sat on the flat rock. And you can see this is such an important element of the book that the cover is actually of Montalbano sitting on the flat rock by the lighthouse, reflecting. So when Melanie talked about taking time for yourself, in the Montalbano Mysteries, 2 or 3 times every book, he takes the time. He gets ADT. You can see the ADT building up inside of him. He looks at his desk. He sees these piles of things, and then he says, "Well, it's lunchtime." And he never fails to go to the trattoria next door to get his lunch. Nothing comes in the way of Montalbano and his lunch. And then when he's done, he takes this walk. And don't you know, it's at the end of the walk, as it says here, that this was the time. This time there was no crab. He has a little friendly crab at this rock that helps him think. but still he thought he'd come up with the right idea while he sat there and reflected. And so he was able then to return to the office. It's a description of how important reflection is in situations like that to help us come up with the
What
right.
does our modern office look like? We take our lunch, we sit at our desk, and we don't take time to leave even our desk
Yep.
to go to lunch anymore.
And for somebody to say, I'm going to take lunch and then go and not think about anything, because he
Yes.
refuses, Montalbano
Right.
refuses to talk while he's eating. That's sacred to him. So, okay, but we don't have enough time for reflection, we say. We're way too busy to stop and think. And besides, thinking isn't really working. Working is doing something. Working is typing. Working is, talking to somebody. Where sitting back and thinking isn't working. And think about your boss coming in your office when you're sitting there, with your eyes closed, thinking about a problem. What are you doing? I'm thinking. Oh, okay. We don't know how to reflect. That's one of the things. We've
No, we
forgotten
don't know
how
how.
to reflect. There's no place at work to do it.
No.
I mean, there's hardly a place at work to get, to put your computer and everything else. There's people all over the place. You sit down to reflect and you fall asleep because you're tired, because you can't sleep because of ADT. It wakes you up at night. And anyway, do I really want to reflect? And then the tendency to be defensive, that says it's not going to help me anyway. So there are lots of reasons why we don't reflect. Maybe that we've forgotten how to do it is one of the key.
I think a big one
one of
is,
the
do
key
we
things.
really want to? I mean,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Yeah.
Because when you reflect, you're looking at all of the things that you're not doing correctly, right? You're very introspective. So
Yes.
you're looking at yourself in a very critical way. And that's hard.
Yes.
A lot of people don't want to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think people recognize the benefit of reflecting. If they don't see any benefit in it, why do it?
Then they're not going to do it.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Well, remember, and this is sort of one of the key points there, is that the second loop in the double loop learning is the reflection loop.
Yes,
And it doesn't happen
yes.
unless you take the time to reflect.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and the reality, Chris, I think what I see is it's a learned behavior to reflect. And as a leader in an organization, I think we have to infuse in our workforce that you must take the time to reflect. As you said before, it starts at the leadership level, and the leader has to require the reflection as part of the learning process, part of the problem solving. You can solve problems, but without the double loop learning, as we've talked here today, you don't learn anything, and you continue to make the same mistakes and solve them again the same way. So you've got to, management and leadership has to require and expect the reflection.
But it has to be shown to have value. It can't be, I force you to do this, you have to do this. You have to show the value in it to you in the workplace, and how does it help you, the individual, how does it help the organization solve its problems. And it's an opportunity for the organization to actually solve its problems at a really systemic level by getting to that type of reflective learning.
And it's also a chance for leaders to model that behavior.
Exactly.
But of course, our leaders are pushed to make decisions
Yes.
as rapidly as possible.
Yes.
So it's hard for them. But for your leader to say, well, I'm not sure exactly the answer. I'm going to have to think about that. I'm going to have to take some time and mull that over. And then actually take the time and mull it over. And then come back with a thoughtful answer. That's modeling sort of the reflective double loop learning.
And people will follow you as a leader, because we are your followers, like your followers. Seeing you exhibit that type of behavior, you're making it okay, and you're making it part of your culture. So I'm going to follow you because I see how you do that, and I want to follow you. So it starts with you.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Let's just deal with this, and then we can continue the discussion. We'll talk a little bit about what we can do about these three, bases for why it's difficult for smart people to learn. So, we want to first of all slow down the ADT. And in some cases, that seems almost impossible to do because there's just so much. But what Hollowell says, one of the things you can do is build positive connections with your colleagues. He said the emotional connection of being with someone and discussing things with someone, maybe even talking over one or two of the things on your plate, actually tend to calm you down. They settle you a little bit because you're interacting with somebody else. So if you have these positive connections, you're likely to be able to use them when you start getting overwhelmed. Get out of your chair and go talk to somebody. Take one of the problems and discuss it with them or something.
But that doesn't have to be in a venting sort of way.
No. It's in a positive way.
Right, right. But some people don't know. I just wanted to bring that point
Oh,
up. Some
yeah,
people
well.
don't know the difference there. They take that time because they're venting. They go to a colleague and then they vent.
Yeah, and
but this has to be in a positive
Well,
vein.
not only that, you have to recognize that if you go to a colleague and vent, you're adding to their ADT.
Right.
Because that's just something that's not going to help them at all.
Exactly.
And you're imposing on them in that regard. Right. Although every once in a while, probably.
Right.
Something happens, we have to vent. So
right.
the second thing he says is take care of your brain. You know, we don't get enough sleep. We don't eat right. You know, you might be a little bit disoriented. It's really important, he says, to make sure that you're doing the mental health kinds of things and the physical kinds of things, because otherwise you become susceptible,
right.
much more susceptible. And so then he says, organize for ADT. What he means by that is there are things that you can do, strategies you can do, and you've read, I'm sure, Office, how to be efficient in the office and those kinds of books, how to save time. This one about breaking large tasks into smaller ones means that you can then get those tasks done, and you can move on from there, right? And when you look at information technology system development now, you see them using agile approaches. You know, the GAO has the digital playbook that says break things down into more manageable pieces and do it in an iterative way. Well, maybe that's because they were looking, they probably didn't call it ADT, but when you have a large system that you're trying to tackle at the same time, there's no way to get it done. And that's the same way it is with most large problems. They're just too immense to think about. So break it down. Keep a portion of your desk and calendar clear. He says you don't have to have a clean office, thank heavens for me, but you have to have a portion of your desk that's free of everything else. They can have a whole mess over here, but you got to have that portion that you're working on, and that will calm you down. And also keep portion of your calendar clear. I know people who say, I can't start to work, or I get to work early, like Janice will tell you, so that I have that period of time in the morning where it's clear and where nobody's involved, right? And I think we all have to somehow do that. I have a great story about that. Do we have time for a story?
A short story.
Okay. I did an assessment of an organization in Pennsylvania at one point, and I had been there for 2 weeks. I was on the road, and I was due to stay over the weekend and give the presentation on the beginning of the week, and then I needed to get out of Pennsylvania. Anything having to do with Pennsylvania, of course. But I wanted to get going as soon as I could because I had been away for a long time. So I said to the project manager, I'd like to make the presentation to your boss on Monday morning first thing. Nope, can't do that. I said, why not? Monday morning, first thing Monday morning, she's sealed up in her office until noon. She won't talk to anybody. And if you go in there, it's the end of things. So I said, wow. And later on, not to go over the project manager's head, but I was talking to the manager about some of the things we had discovered. And I said, by the way, you know, I'm really impressed that you take Monday mornings off until noon. No. Or you close your door until noon and get work done. No, that's crazy. Whoever said that? I said, well, everybody out on the floor believes that, right, about you. She said, about 6 months ago, she said, that answers a question for me. About 6 months ago, I was coming to work, and I backed my car out of the garage and forgot something, and put it back in the garage, or started to put it back in the garage, but had put realized I had put my garage door down. Wasn't paying any attention. So I banged into the garage. So then I had to take my husband's car. And about halfway to work, the car had a flat tire. So I had to get out and call it AAA and change the flat tire. And it was raining. And she said, finally I got to work. And the first thing, somebody met me at the door and asked me a question. And I said, just let me get my cup of coffee. I don't want anybody to bother me until 12 o'clock. And she said, I've never been bothered since then. And she said, but you know what? I'm not going to tell them, because I'd love it to have Monday mornings where I can get myself together for the whole week. She had discovered through that little thing that clearing your calendar a little bit was one of those really important things.
She does some self-reflection in that time, and
Right.
she has time to think.
Absolutely, yeah.
She has
I'm
time
not going
to
to. She
think,
knew how
yeah.
important it was to her.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell them.
She learned.
But it did answer her problem. So what else do we want to do? We want to stop playing defense all the time.
Can we go back to the other slide
Sure.
just for a second? Because the one thing I wanted to add there, which is one of the newer areas in management in theory, and one of the hotter topics right now is mindfulness.
Yeah.
And so it's this idea of let's be in the moment instead of worrying about my 10 things on my to-do list and everything
Yeah. The
that's
next
surrounding
meeting,
me,
and,
the next meeting, the next problem, what else do I have?
Yeah.
Let me just think about what I have right now.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to the thinking. Thinking is hard. And so not only is it difficult, and a lot of people don't have time because they're so busy doing, they don't have time for thinking, but it's the idea of focusing on the current that I think we could also add to this list when you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I mean, this was Hollowell's list, but I think another idea there could be mindfulness.
Well, that whole idea of the mind clearing tricks,
Right.
that's one of those.
Right.
As Nick Thon, a great Buddhist teacher, says, if you can eat one piece of tangerine, you can eat the whole tangerine. But if you can't eat one piece, you cannot eat the tangerine. So think about that. Oh, anyway. Okay, so we're going to stop playing defense all the time. And one of the things that we want to consider here is a distinction between problem and mystery. And this also opens us up to the discussion we were having earlier before we came on the air about wonder, and the fact that we may in our society have lost the sense of wonder. That's the one thing that I was thinking that we could add maybe to Arduous, saying we've got this fear of failure, but we've also lost to some degree the sense of wonder, especially that you had as a kid, and that sense of wonder is at the heart of learning. It's right at the very basis of learning. And the idea of the distinction between problem and mystery gets at that a little bit. Marcel, back in the mid-20th century, wrote a lot about problem and mystery. And problem was something that had a solution. Once you got the solution, you were pretty much done with the problem, right? There wasn't much left of it. It made a good story, maybe. It was out there. It was defined. It was something you understood. Mystery, on the other hand, is something that's never exhausted. You can continually go back to mystery, and it feeds you in some way. It enlivens you. You engage with mystery, and mystery of love, for instance, has no end to it when you're really in love with someone. You can continually engage with that mystery. The mystery of the universe. Freeman Dyson has a book called Infinite in All Directions, and when you confront the whole idea of the expansiveness of the universe, and yet the smallness of it when you drive down through the microscope into the cells and matter and physics and so on. The mysteries are there to be confronted with wonder. and not winning, or not solving, or not being right. There's no answer to that. And we remember, Socrates was the one who coined the phrase, or actually Plato coined it for him maybe, wonder is the beginning of wisdom. That's the whole sense of how we arrive at something a little deeper and a little bit more meaningful than just us. And wonder is all around us. It's in our work day, it's in our personal day, and so on. So, if you say the statement, I'm having a problem with my team collaborating, is that a problem to be solved? In a business sense, it is. But in another sense, it's the wonder of the way people have grown up and the way they interact. And you're never going to solve it in its fullness. You're only going to be able to engage with it and try to make it better or worse.
Do you think when we call it a problem, though, you call it a problem, it's like you want to attack it and you want to solve it, and you never just step back, like you said, and look at it with wonder and just kind of look at it and explore it. It's a problem. We got to solve it.
Yeah.
We got to move on.
Yeah. And wonder not having an answer doesn't mean it's not understandable.
Yes.
Okay, you can penetrate wonder, and you can intellectually engage with it, but you just never are done with it. You're always, there's always another dimension of it.
So we just have a couple more minutes, and so what I'd like to do is, I know at the very end of your presentation you have a couple key points.
Yep.
So if we could leave the people who are watching with just a couple key things that they can, at 11 o'clock today, when this is
Yep.
over, they can walk away and go back to their office and they can put into practice.
Yep. Well, yes. We talked about most of this, schedule some time to reflect. Developing some reflection tools, I think, is important, and they'll come back at the end.
Okay.
But there are things you can use, logs and descriptions and doodling even, that make you look like you're working while you're actually reflecting. You can draw the aspects of the various thing. But let's sum up, as you asked. The ability to define as learning is a learning characteristic of being human, and the ability to continue learning is an essential skill of leadership. And when leaders lose that ability, they inevitably falter. This is from a book by Bennis and Thomas called Geeks and Geezers, and it's a great book if you want to know. Okay, so to be good learners, first of all, we need to be aware and self-aware. We have to practice humility. Why? Because you're going to fail sometimes. Yeah, and a sense of humor helps here. Humility is a strength, by the way. It's a virtue. It's not something that you don't need to look back at. We need to use that double loop in order to reflect on our experience. You can do that. Okay, you can actually sit back and think about a situation and begin to wonder about the various aspects of it and maybe the assumptions that have gone into it and that you're using, and that's the double loop. Then you want to test and refine those new understandings. You may want to do that with a colleague, right? You may want to test your new understanding. Does this sound crazy to you? And before you go because it may be crazy, but you also want to, you test it out, and then you want to apply it. And the last thing I say is value mystery and practice wonder. Find the mystery around you and engage with it. And that has to do with people relationships and the things that we do too. You'll be a good learner if you can practice those 5 things.
Okay. Well, I think this has been great. I think we've had a great discussion. I think we learned a lot. And if we actually put these things into play, I think we'd be in great shape. If we each took this and put this into our own staff meeting, the next meeting we have, I think we can all learn a lot. So, Chris, thank you very much for being our guest.
Thanks for the invitation.
Kathy and Janice, I appreciate
you.
it. And thank you very much for being with us. And please join us again next month for the HUD OCIO learning session. Have a wonderful day.